Thank you, Ms. Provost. Always good to see you. The returning faculty come back. The newcomers join us this morning as we settle into a new year. First of all, let me thank the Airmart staff for what they've accomplished in transitioning food service on this campus for the past month and a half. The changes are really going to be substantial, especially the changes to the grill, the new Starbucks and the like. The A issue notwithstanding, they're going to be good partners over the next few years. Now let's take just a couple of minutes to recognize a few of our colleagues for some special accomplishments this past summer and in late spring. But let me begin with a few non-academic recognitions. To Rick Almeida, Natalie Johnson, and Maria Otero for those beautiful new babies. Congratulations. And a special recognition to Alan and Tammy Claybo for that very miraculous heart transplant that came at a very, very timely period. I want all of you to know that Tammy is in rehabilitation at Health South here in town. Drop her a note and let her know that you're thinking of her. And now to the academic recognitions. To Meredith Love and Matt Nelson for success in starting a new 8th grade academy that we've talked about for years here, Activate, as a part of their Center of Excellence for College and Career Readiness. They did a terrific job with that. Congratulations. To Tammy Pulowski for being the 2015 recipient of the Boys and Girls Club Champion of Youth Award. Well deserved, Tammy. Len Kostoff for the publication of his new novel, Words to Die For. Lisa Ergel for the publication of her 2 new edited volumes, Savage, Sand and Surf, the Hurricane Sandy disaster, and Black Beaches and Bayous, the BP Deepwater Horizon oil disaster. Well done, Lisa. Louis Venner for the publication of his new book, No Jim Crow Church, The Origins of South Carolina Baha'i Community. Becky, Will Daniel stayed home long enough at least to get his new book out, Career Behavior and the European Parliament. Congratulations, Will. Phil Gardner for his upcoming publication of a new collection, The Future Never Lasts. Ruth Whitman Price for her selection to the very prestigious National Fellow with the American Academy of Nursing. Well done, Ruth. Lynn Hansen for her appointment as a Leipzig Research Fellow at Hobcall Barony. Susan Peters for her selection as an HCE Faculty Fellow this year, and she'll actually be working with my friend Linda Blyken at Armstrong Atlantic State University. Wonderful opportunity for Susan. Joangela Edwards, who will be appointed on September 18th to a term on the South Carolina Humanities Council. As many of you know, all of you should know, the Humanities Council is the state's major re-granting entity for all NEH grants into the state. Shirley Bousmith for her appointment to the South Carolina Council on Competitiveness Transform SC Higher Education Policy Committee. Congratulations, Shirley. Now let me explain something to all of you. Shirley's appointment, Joangela's appointment. Last year, you recall, we mentioned Ann Steckman's appointment to the Duke Energy Grant Committee. All of these are appointments for our faculty to statewide committees that control the flow of research funding into South Carolina. In years past, That used to be the purview exclusively of faculty at the research universities. Times are changing. We'll continue our efforts to get members of this faculty on statewide committees, but most especially those that control the allocation of college in South Carolina. Let me thank Charlene Wages, Becky Flanagan, Teresa Ramey, Jonathan Edwards, Jessica Doucette, and the other members of the Title IX Council for all the work they did this summer in the development of our Title IX procedures and processes. They did a wonderful job. And to the 24 other faculty members who have published articles or presented papers in regional, national, or international conferences or sessions this summer. Now, of course, the production of all of this research, the books, the articles, the chapters, the papers, maybe not the babies, but everything else requires appreciable effort on your part and substantial funding support from the university. I meant the funding support, okay, not the appreciable effort. Although, who am I to say? I'm an empty nester. This year, the level of funding that we'll put into the Faculty Research Fund, the Real Fund, International Collaboration Grants, and the McNair Grants will total here $683,000. Guys, that's a chunk of money. And I'm very proud to tell you that no other school in South Carolina, public or private, provides this level of per capita funding for faculty research and service. And remember this past year, number of faculty sabbaticals increased here from 4 to 6. This year, they'll increase to 8 per year, and next year, they'll go from 8 to 10. At a time when universities nationally are cutting back on sabbaticals, Francis Marion has increased ours by 150%. You might ask why. Well, the faculty would never ask that, but people outside might ask why. And the answer is because having a professionally active faculty is our single most important asset. Yeah, we have a beautiful campus, and yeah, our students are engaging. But the quality of the faculty is what recruits prospective students, it's what lures philanthropists, and frankly, it's the single most important thing in attracting new college. We'll continue to support research and service here, and we'll continue to raise the money publicly and privately to do that. Now, to that end, last fall we inducted Chris Johnson, Lisa Ergel, Derek Jokic, and Terry Roberts as new trustee research fellows. In 2 weeks, we'll name 2 additional scholars to fill the vacancies created by the retirement of Larry McCumber and Jeff Lee last spring. Now, one of the most successful things I think we've worked on over the years here, all of us together, is the development of our international programs. This year, we're going to add something new. We're going to add a new faculty international orientation program specifically designed for faculty who have never had the opportunity to visit any of our exchange sites abroad. I've asked Will Daniel, of course, he was back for a short period of time, to develop an itinerary for 5 faculty members to travel during this coming spring break to visit partner schools and to learn more about our international higher education collaborations. We will fund this effort for the next few years with Will and with David White alternating as group leaders. Again, 5 faculty members per year, specifically for those who have never participated in our international programs previously. If you have an interest in doing this, please send an email to the provost or Mark Blackwell, our international director. They'll be selecting the participants each year. Now, let's take a minute and discuss the state budget. This year's legislative session was especially fractious and characterized by bitter exchanges among the governor, the House leadership, and the Senate leadership. Now, I know that begs a follow-up question, well, what's new? After all, it's South Carolina. But this year it was especially acrimonious, as many of you know. But the university fared well. Among other things, our $2,350,000 appropriation increase included new funding for our new academic software that we're in the process of procuring, license and maintenance fees for that software, and 2 brand new technical support positions that will help us with the implementation of that software and obviously in years ahead the development of broader technical support across the campus. We also received new funding for energy efficiency initiatives across campus, and we received support, of course, for our 2 centers of excellence that we're very, very proud of and are achieving not only statewide but regional and national acclaim. Now let me get through this and try to explain this as comprehensively as I can. The legislature chose not to give recurring state pay raises this year. What the legislature chose to do was provide an $800 bonus. Now, let me make sure you understand that's non-recurring. For all state employees who earn less than $100,000 a year and who were employed at least 6 months prior to July 1st, 2015. Now, the good part is that there were absolutely no requirements as to how quick you could run the 60 yards or any of that, but the 2 principal requirements was you had to be here prior to the 1st of January of last year, and you have to make less than $100,000 a year. Now, they didn't set a date for the payment of this bonus, but state budget officials will likely authorize the payment of this bonus, we believe, in the October to November time frame. I think some of that has to do with revenue collections on the part of the state. So, October, November. Now, our approach to this here is a little more simplistic. Using institutional dollars, we were able to provide all of you a 1% recurring pay raise, which goes to your base, and the Christmas bonus will be paid as always, employing the same criteria as in past years. So for the 8th consecutive year, this university will provide the highest percentage comprehensive pay increase of any state entity in South Carolina. I'm very proud of that, but more important to you, your board of trustees is very, very proud of that. One other thing, not so insignificant. This year, we set aside some money to deal with a few pay compression issues within the faculty. So the provost and I will look at these adjustments within the next month or so in consultation with the relevant deans and chairs across the university. So for some of you, there may be some additional good news coming within the next couple of months. Now, the General Assembly also fully funded a 4.5% increase in your insurance premiums. That means none of you will experience an increase in insurance premiums during the course of the year. Unfortunately, the legislature didn't provide any funding for the 4.5% increase to the employer's share, so the university will have to bear that out of our university existing base. But I do want you to understand, if you costed that out, that would be the equivalent of about a 1% pay increase, given the size of insurance premiums. So it's an appreciable support for state employees. As for private fundraising, we've also had another very successful year. We raised a little more than $4 million this year, brings our total fundraising over the past 16 years to more than $82 million, and that increases our university endowment to just a little more than $30 million, depending upon whether or not the correction continues this morning on Wall Street. Meanwhile, downtown on Evans Street, construction is progressing at a rapid rate on the health sciences facility. Steel supports are up, the roof is framed in, and the project is running well ahead of schedule and within budget. This will be a terrific building and a wonderful venue for teaching medical, nursing, and health students. 2 weeks ago, we hosted a luncheon for the new M1s, the first-year medical students at the University of South Carolina School of Medicine. There were about 100 of them, 20 of whom will come here to study in their 3rd and 4th years. After lunch, many of these medical students will group around the graphic of our new building, expressing pleasure at the opportunity to study alongside nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and clinical psychologists. You know, in a decade, this will be the instructional model that's used for medical education across this country. We're just getting there well before everybody else. This is going to be a building and an instructional model that receives national acclaim. You wait and see. Very, very proud of this one. Oh, and don't forget, funding for that model is completely secure. It'll have no debt, and it comes from sources external to the university. Another instructional building for us, paid for by somebody else. The best way to do it. Facility maintenance renovation efforts have continued across campus throughout the spring and all summer. Founders, Coffin, the dorms, a number of other university buildings. Currently, we're putting a little more than $2 million a year into renovation efforts across this campus, and this will continue for the next few years. One part of that I just want to pause and reflect on are sidewalk renovations. You know, one of the beautiful things about this campus are those gorgeous oak trees across the campus. One of the unfortunate things about this campus are those beautiful oak trees across the campus and what they do to sidewalks. So those efforts will continue. And my friends, I'd love to tell you that we'll be finished with the sidewalk repairs in a couple of years. We'll never be finished with the sidewalk repairs on this campus. Now let's take a minute and discuss new and developing academic programs. The Board of Trustees is prepared to consider the creation of a new School of Health Sciences at its fall meeting. This new school would be comprised of our existing programs in nursing, nursing practice, nursing education. Oh gosh. The worst sin of all. Here, Becky, I know you're going to take it. This new school will be comprised of our existing programs in nursing, nursing practice, nursing education, and our own developing programs in physician assistant study and healthcare administration. It'll operate similarly to the School of Business and the School of Education. But I have asked the faculty chair, Dr. Flanagan, to take the proposal to the faculty senate for review and endorsement before we take it forward to the board. Our PA program is developing well, and in no small part to the wonderful efforts on the part of Dr. DeMarco and Chip. Deeply appreciative of that effort. We'll undergo our preliminary accreditation review this October, and we anticipate enrolling our first class of PAs, 32 of them, next August in that new building downtown. The faculty feasibility group working on the speech therapy program completed their study this spring by affirming the need for this program within the region across the state. So we'll ask this group and Dr. Alyssa Waters to work with the Graduate Council this fall in developing a proposal for consideration of the faculty, the trustees, and the CHE. And one of our budget requests this year will be $550,000 in recurring funding to start this program. On that subject, we'll also request another $375,000 in recurring funding this year to begin the development of a comprehensive advising initiative on campus, focusing initially on incoming freshmen. We'll request $3.1 million in non-recurring funding to fund our new honors building. And in the event that there's an attempt at another bond bill this year, we'll have a $21 million request on legislators' desk for that education and business building. I've been told by the leadership in both the House and Senate that they're going to take another run at a bond bill this year. As all of you know, The obligation is that they make it veto-proof. 2/3 votes in both chambers, because the governor said time and time again that she'll veto a bond bill. But I think we'll see the development of a bond bill. I'm really hesitant to predict whether or not that bond bill has an opportunity to be passed. This brings me to the next topic, a doctorate in nursing practice. Many of our friends on and off this campus have been nudging us to consider the effort for some time, but the time wasn't right politically. Last year, Coastal Carolina was successful in amending its enabling statute to begin a doctoral program in marine science with our help legislatively. The College of Charleston will likely do the same within the next 2 years with information technology, and they've asked for our political support as well. I think that it's prudent for us to at least assess the feasibility of offering a doctoral program for nurse practitioners. Our nursing program and our natural science departments are among the strongest in the state of South Carolina. And the working credentials for new nurse practitioners will likely elevate to the doctoral level within the next few years. These are very good reasons to consider this initiative. It'll be a difficult effort, and it may take us a couple of years to get it done. But I think it's time for all of us to look at moving forward to that level with this institution. Last year, in consultation with the provost and the faculty chair, we appoint 2 study groups, one to examine summer school and the other to consider ways to enhance our graduate rate and our retention. The chairpersons of the relevant faculty committees are on these groups, as are elected officers of the faculty. They'll begin work this fall, and we look forward to receiving their recommendations later in the year, hopefully before the end of the academic year. Now, this brings me to the more difficult part of these comments. For the past 3 years, the provost has wanted to retire. And for the past 3 years, I've pounded my head against the office wall and flopped about on the floor and convincing him not to do so. But this time he's insistent about leaving at the end of this academic year. Apparently he and Marilyn have plans for the next 5 decades or so of their lives. And I don't blame them, and neither do you. No one has served this university more faithfully or honorably than Richard Chapman, and no one is more deserving of our gratitude at his retirement. All of you understand the close relationship that Rich and I have shared over the years. He's one of the most capable academic administrators with whom I've ever worked. He's also one of the finest people I know, and he's one of my dearest friends. But enough of this stuff. We're not going to say our goodbyes to Rich this morning. Still has another 9 months to work. In the spring, Folly and I will ask all of you to join us in hosting a very memorable retirement event for Rich and Marion. And the provost will be our commencement speaker in the spring. Of course, we all know the secret of the provost's success. When he was in graduate school, he encountered a genie. No, really, he encountered a genie. The genie offered him a choice among wealth, wisdom, or great beauty. And Rich chose wisdom. But to this day, he wishes he had taken the money. No? The looks? In the next couple of weeks, I'll meet with the chair of the faculty, and we'll discuss the search process for a new provost. I'll assure you that the faculty will play a very substantial role in this national search, as it will in any future searches related to the university's leadership. So that's probably enough for this morning. I just want to close by reminding you, as always, how proud I am of what you do. You make an enormous difference in the lives of those you educate. That's a unique trust and a distinctive privilege. Few people in our society get that opportunity. Thank you for what you do.